Since the National Football League's inception in 1920, there have been some truly epic teams. Some would stay together just a season or two, while others would dominate the sport for multiple seasons. But which team has been the best to ever grace the game in the United States? There will always be slight controversy in any best of all time list, but today we're giving our thoughts on the 10 best NFL teams of all time debate. Stay tuned. First up, it's the 1998 Denver Broncos. With 7 Pro Bowl players on their offense and another 2 on defense, the 98 Broncos made the most of a superb Terrell Davis to bag their second Super Bowl in a row. The offense was the best in almost every metric, and with Davis playing the best football of his career with some sublime stats, they echoed another great 90s team in the form of the 92 Cowboys. I mean, averaging 125 yards per game with 23 touchdowns is an insane return in anyone's book, but Davis had it all that year. With an aging John Elway missing for a handful of games during the campaign, they had the perfect replacement in the form of Bobby Brister, who did not let the Colorado outfit down when called upon. The team was really built on rushing and rush defense, and was an absolute joy to watch that year. Next up is those 92 Cowboys. The 92 Cowboys featured 6 Pro Bowl players on offense and a superb defense to keep it all together. The 2 units scored highly, with the offense second overall and the defense 5th, meaning they had the basis for a solid run at the Super Bowl, culminating in a 52-17 win over the Bills. They were so good because of their consistency on both sides of the ball. The defense was first in many categories, and the offense almost didn't put a foot wrong all year, with quality players like Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith all having stellar years. The Dallas Cowboys of 92 are safely inside the top 10 best teams of all time. So where does this team rank for you guys? We're talking the Rams of 99 next. Stay with us. I mean, you don't acquire the greatest show on turf moniker for nothing, right? One of the most incredible things about the Rams offense in 1999 was that their total points was almost 60% more than the league average, coupled with the fact that they took advantage of the easiest strength of schedule of any other of the big teams, -5.88. They were almost a certain lock for reaching the Super Bowl. Their season culminated in a 23-16 win over Tennessee, and looking back, it's easy to see why, with 4 All-Pro players and 4 future Hall of Famers on the offense. Of course, this team was synonymous with its offense, but their defense was also solid, ranking second in points per drive and only allowing 4 rushing touchdowns all season. Pretty epic. Who was your favorite player from the St. Louis Rams of 1999? Let us know below. The 1975 Pittsburgh Steelers are coming through now. With 11 Pro Bowl and 3 All-Pro players on their roster back in 75, it would have been a travesty to leave the 75 Steelers off any list like this. Their 3 All-Pro players, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, and Mel Blount, were all found on the defense. And if you just have a look through the rest of the roster from that season, the sheer amount of individual talent will jump off the page at you and slap you in the face. While their offense wasn't the best you'll ever see, it was the 75 Steelers defense, which really set pulses racing, allowing almost 44% fewer points than the seasonal average that year. When you intercept 27 passes and allow only 9 passing touchdowns, you're always going to have a pretty good chance, which is exactly what happened that year. How do you think the 75 Rams would fare today? We have the 89 49ers next. With legends such as Joe Montana, Roger Craig, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott on your roster, you're always going to do big things. Huge on offense, the 49ers led the league for points scored, culminating in a 55-10 destruction of the Broncos in the Super Bowl that year. However, their defense was also solid too, forcing plenty of interceptions on D, and with Montana and Young in the form they were in for most of the season, they only really needed an average defense. What they got was one that finished 3rd in scoring defense, meaning they were a certainty for the Super Bowl that season. Next up, it's the 1991 Redskins. The Washington outfit had a superb offense back in 91, which landed them their 3rd Super Bowl crown. Unfortunately, the extra loss they received over the season means that they don't feature quite as high on today's list as they might have. Many have compared their 91 offense to the 07 Patriots, but they were no slouches in the defensive department either. With an offense that offered almost 60% more points than the league average, their defense was also mightily impressive, allowing around 26% fewer points than their rivals that year, with 2 All-Pros in Jim Lachey and Darryl Green, as well as 6 Pro Bowl players. The 91 Washington outfit was never going to be far from the glory that year. Were you guys fans of this team? We're talking about the 07 Patriots next. Stay with us. There was no way we could possibly miss out on the 07 Patriots with arguably the best QB of all time. For many people, they're the greatest NFL team ever, but that claim has been rubbished by others due to the fact they were beaten 17-14 in the Super Bowl by the Giants. Giants. However, their offense that year was one of the greatest in history, scoring almost 70% more points than the average. Their defense was pretty great too, scoring 21% better than the mean. Unfortunately though, their loss against Eli and David Tyree's Giants means they won't quite get the recognition they deserve. This is a shame, because putting together a team this good again is almost certainly never going to happen, with the salary cap now firmly established. Give us your thoughts on the 07 Patriots below. The 49ers of 1984 are up next. One of the all-time great teams. The word team is key here. While they lacked in individual brilliance, both offensive and defensive units were able to play together superbly. And even though Keith Van Horst was the only All-Pro first-team player, they were still able to top the offensive rankings, with the fewest turnovers in the league, and Montana in fine form. The 49ers also benefited from a solid rushing attack. They would also finish second in average per rush and TD scored, which culminated in their 38-16 win over Miami in the season's final game. Add to this the fact that their defense was also pretty spectacular, and the 84 49ers are one of the greatest teams to ever turn out in the NFL. What do you guys think? And now it's the 1985 Chicago Bears. Stay tuned. The 85 Bears and the 84 Niners are regularly spoken of as the second best team of all time, and with both finishing second in points scored, as well as first in points allowed, it's easy to see why these two are so often compared with one another. They also played just a season apart too, so they are easily comparable, with a record of almost 75% more points than the average, as well as 54 turnovers and only giving away 12.4 points per game on defense. The 84 Bears are truly one of the game's best ever teams. The Chicago outfit produced 5 first-team All-Pro players, as well as 9 Pro Bowlers in 1984, which meant the Patriots were up against a pretty solid unit when the Super Bowl rolled around in New Orleans. The Bears would win the game 46-10, and anything else than a Bears win that year would have been a travesty. And finally, it's the 72 Dolphins. Undoubtedly the greatest NFL team to ever grace the field. The 72 Dolphins were simply a powerhouse, unlike anything ever seen before or since. Undefeated throughout the season, the Dolphins would score first in both points for and against, which is the only team on today's list to do so. When you also consider the fact they achieved these amazing feats, which resulted in a 14-7 win against Washington in the Super Bowl, with their backup QB Earl Morrall, then their achievements begin to look even better. They also had the superbly named Mercury Morris, as well as Larry Zonka, in superb form all year, and their epic season resulted in 4 All-Pro players and 9 Pro Bowlers. The numbers amassed in most areas mean we are likely to never again see a team like the 72 Dolphins. What do you guys think? As always, thanks for dropping by today, and remember to stop by again next time for some more fun reveals. And why not do us a big favor by liking and sharing today's video, while also subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on more great content in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.